Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the Christmas Countdown Show. We are back for another episode in this holiday season. This is episode 316.
Wow.
And again, for you non-industry folks, 3 stands for the season that we're in, and 16 is the episode that we are in.
I feel like we're creating a lot of industry folks through this podcast.
I like that. They
through
feel
the
like they're in the biz.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do.
I like it. I like it. And today is December 7th.
Yeah.
Good day.
It's a great day.
12/7 sounds like a good day.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening on drop day, it's 12/7.
On drop day, yes.
For us in IRL,
yes,
it's 12/4, which is not too far ahead.
Not too far.
Which is
we're almost caught up because earlier in the season we were recording pretty far in advance.
It was like July, and we're like, Merry Christmas! And it's so chilly
everybody.
outside. Yeah.
Yes, but here we are. It is a beautiful day in Southern California,
yep.
but getting a little chillier, which
you
is
can
nice.
feel it coming.
Yes, and I definitely woke up like, oh God, I'm freezing.
Yeah,
which is nice.
It is nice.
Since we don't have the snow, I at least like it to be cold.
Yeah, like if I walk into, we have like a walk-in closet in our master bedroom, and like it is horrible. Like if you walk in there, it's like walking into like cryotherapy in the morning.
It's freezing.
It's so freaking cold in there, but I kind of like it because it's like I feel like really like bold. I'm like, all right, here we go, and I like prep myself up. I grab the door handle and I go, ooh, gotta get my clothes. It's so cold in here, and then I close it. And,
I like that.
Yeah.
I used to remember when I worked in restaurants that I loved the like few moments, especially when you're in the middle of like a long shift and you're kind of sweaty, somebody's like, hey, we need more pickles. And you go into the cooler and it's like really legitimately cold in there. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to stay in here for a while.
Yeah. It felt like you, I don't know. It just felt like you were taking like a big risk in your life.
Yeah.
Cause you're like, what if the door gets locked?
Yes.
What if I get stuck in here?
Did you watch The Bear? The show
No.
The Bear? First of all, you need to watch it. It's a spectacular show.
Okay.
Maybe
is
the
it
best
a comedy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Jesse Tyler Ferguson, is he in that
No.
one?
No, this is the one that's based in Chicago, and Jeremy, what's his name? I can't
Irons.
remember. Jeremy, it's like, but it is
Jackson.
something.
Jeremy Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White.
I don't know if I know who that is.
He was on Shameless. He looks a lot like me, frankly, like a better, skinnier version of me with longer hair. But people tell me all the time, they're like, you look like that guy from The Bear, just
Jeremy, what's
fatter.
his name? Jeremy
Allen White.
Allen. I'm going to look him up.
He's got big droopy eyes like me.
Oh, I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people will be like,
His
you
hair's
should
more
play his
wavy
brother.
than yours, though.
Yeah, but
like
the
your
facial structure
your
is
eye color is like almost exactly
very
the same.
similar, yeah.
Your cheeks look very similar. Yeah. He looks like I feel like I've seen you make these faces before.
It's very close. So anyways, the show is spectacular.
Okay.
It's all about this guy, Carmi, who comes from a very dysfunctional family. Very dysfunctional.
Okay.
And basically to escape it becomes a chef and becomes like one of the best chefs in the world and is having this nice career. His brother, you find this out in the pilot, his brother has passed away and has left him his Italian beef restaurant in downtown Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And so he leaves like working at the French Laundry to run an Italian beef joint in downtown Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And he tries to kind of like make it better and teach the cooks and stuff how to like live and strive for excellence. And so there is like big dramatic parts to the show, but it's also incredibly funny. It's some of the best acting you will ever see.
Okay.
It's so good. Why did I bring this up? I was talking about The Bear because
We talked about the freezer.
the
and
freezer.
Walking into the refrigerator.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you watch The Bear, I'm not going to spoil anything, but you'll know.
Okay.
That's all I'll say because I don't want to. It's something from the finale. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
Somebody's
I'm
in a
gonna check it out.
freezer. I'll tell you
Once
that
I get
much.
past the holidays and all these Christmas
Yes,
movies
yes,
I gotta
yes,
watch,
yes.
all the Hallmark stuff I gotta watch.
Yes.
The Bear come January when I got
Get in it.
nothing going on.
Get it. There, especially here's a good tie back. The Christmas episode of The Bear in season 3 is, in my opinion, maybe the greatest episode of television ever
Really?
of any show.
Wow.
It
That's
is
big.
phenomenal. The acting, essentially, I'm not spoiling anything. It's a Christmas Eve dinner between this family. It's a flashback episode. And the writing of it is so good because it truly feels like you're at a family dinner. People are talking over each other. Things don't make sense. You hear part of a conversation, then it swings into another thing. It is like, when Lisa and I watched it, it's like that one's an especially long episode. I think it's like an hour and a half episode.
Okay.
We got about 45 minutes into it, and we had to stop because I was so emotionally drained
Really?
from watching 45 minutes of this episode because it was just like, holy smokes, I just feel like I went through like 10 years of therapy or something.
Really?
It like is so intense.
Okay.
It's great. I can't recommend it enough.
I mean, we all know like that hubbub that happens at the Thanksgiving table, at the Christmas table, even like when your family's all visiting from out of town and everyone gets together on like a Friday night to play Boggle or whatever sort of happening. I don't think I fully appreciated that hubbub when I was a kid.
Sure.
I don't know if maybe it wasn't appreciation. I just don't know if I ever noticed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've realized that as I get older, I don't know if it's just my hearing's more sensitive now, but like I am so much more aware of all the noise that's happening in a given space.
But do you miss it or does it bug you?
That's a great question. I debate over this while I'm sitting there in the moment and a little agitated.
I'll tell you this, as for me at least, growing up in Chicago and having that hubbub at essentially everybody's birthday, every holiday, like we had a big family, we'd always get together. And now living out here where I'm not near a bunch of family, I miss it terribly. Yeah. Like when we went home last Christmas and did our sort of big Danley family Christmas, like it made me so happy to hear all the different conversations and everybody's yelling and people are, where's so-and-so? Oh, take the thing out of the oven. You know, everybody's just like yelling and stuff. And my kids even, I know Sophie especially, like that one trip last Christmas to our sort of big extended family, she still talks about it. And she's 13. So like, she's not, oh, remember when we, you know, she's like, that's not her vibe a ton right now, but she still is like, that was so fun. We went to Chicago and everybody was around. We were all playing games and everybody was yelling and like it was crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's what it was like for me all the time growing up. And
but she's gonna hold on to that forever, just like we hold on to that nostalgia and missing it.
Totally.
You know, that's the thing. Is like I debate over like, I think I miss that feeling that I had, just the carefree nature of,
especially when you're the kid underneath all that hubbub.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like so focused on playing Nintendo with your cousins or like playing basketball in the backyard and grabbing a slice of pie or whatever it is. You don't have any other worries going on in your life. It just feels like your life is, you've been given this like freedom for like 2 weeks where you can just do whatever you want till whatever hour of the night and sleep in tomorrow morning.
And there's something about when you're at those big family things, when all the adults are all talking to each other. As a kid, I feel like you're a little bit like, we could do whatever we want.
They're so what I mean? Distracted
like, right now. Nobody's paying attention to us. I mean, I know me and my cousins, we would like have like a fight club down in the basement, like, with like boxing gloves and stuff. Not because we were mad at each other, but just like we would get in trouble if other parents saw what we were doing to each other. But like we were just socking each other and like we were throwing darts at each other. I mean, it was bad.
Oh wow, yeah, we would play. Nintendo was big.
Okay, yeah.
And like I remember there was one Christmas where I think my cousins brought their GameCube or something from Texas. Yes. And there was this like new hockey game that had just come out. Yeah. But it was like 3-on-3 hockey, sort of like NBA Jam sort of thing. And you could create your own characters. Yeah. And like I think I was like this Sarge guy. And then one of my cousins was like a rat and he was like really fast. And the other guy was like a knight, like from like Game of Thrones.
That sounds awesome.
Thing. And we played that like for 8 hours straight. Cause every time you win, like you can get faster and you get stronger.
Yeah.
But I remember my cousins, I don't think they listen to this show, but like, I won't say their names, but they were so close in age and they would fight all the time. And like if one of them like missed a shot, the other would be like, what are you doing? And like punch him in the arm. And he'd be like, leave me alone. And they would always be like, and I'm just like sitting there in the middle, like, come on guys, can't we play this game? But those are the memories, you know? Times, and it was, it's not so much the sound, I think, as it is like just the simplicity of being able to just be in the moment and just enjoying what is happening there and not being worried about what you did yesterday or what you're going to do tomorrow. It's like just today. And I think if we can all tap into that, like that's where the secret sauce is.
I've never thought about that, but I think you're totally right that like part of the joy of childhood is the lack of worry about tomorrow or even yesterday. Like I think you do just live, or at least I think we did. I don't know if kids today necessarily have the exact same experience that we had growing up. I think there's a bit more anxiety in the world that they sort of take on, you know, through osmosis or whatever. But I think that's what was so great is that like you weren't worried about like, oh, well, we got to turn that thing in tomorrow, or
right.
This is I have that meeting tomorrow, and I got to talk to this person, and then we got to do like you just were wherever you were was where you were, and you just enjoyed it, you know?
And
which is the way that we should all be living all the time.
100%, and so like I think that'll tap into this countdown.
Yes,
we're doing today,
absolutely.
Which I know you like to tell people.
It's a good one.
Set everyone up. What do we have?
So today we're going to be doing the top 5 ways to get into the holiday spirit. So these are going to be tips and tricks, which we did an episode of like tips and tricks and hacks earlier this season, and it went really well. I think
I like that a lot.
I feel like we know we love our song episodes, and I think you guys love our song episodes as well. But I like this sort of more like sort of advice-driven countdowns that we've been doing. I think it's kind of fun.
Maybe we're showing our age. We're much more mature than we were 2 years ago.
Yes.
Now it's not just about fun songs.
Yes.
It's about like how do you
help you
navigate this. And I think it's a reflection. I can only speak for myself, but like of where I'm at right now, and as we talk about the busyness of the holiday season and how simple it seemed when we were not even just like 5, but even like 14, 17, 18, my early 20s. Like.
Sure.
It felt like everything was sort of like carefree, right? Yeah. And I think, for me, it's like trying to figure out how not to go back there, because I think if you're trying to go back, it's the recognition of what you used to do and how that impacted your life, and how can you take some of that and implement it into this current version of who you are, which we'll get into. And we also have a guest joining us on the episode today.
Very exciting. Hallmark guest.
Hallmarkies are going to be very excited.
Yes, indeed.
For this one. I'm very excited.
I am too.
For this individual.
A great actor.
Should we say? I mean, it's an
we can
episode title.
Yeah. Paul Campbell.
Paul Campbell is hanging out with us today. We will officially have had 2/3 of the three wise men on our show after Paul comes on today.
And we need to get
Tyler Hynes,
because he was, what was the one that we just watched him in?
Never Been Christ.
Never Been Christ. He was so good in that one.
So good, and he's got a very dedicated following.
Yes.
You know what they're called?
No.
The Heinies.
The Heinies.
Hashtag Heinies. HYNIES.
That's like an old word for your butt that like nobody says anymore. Like,
but I feel like they're all
get your Heiny out of here.
Like they're all like
totally, I'm sure.
We're the Heinies.
That's really
anyway,
cool.
so very, very exciting episode today. And did want to remind you guys before we get too far into the episode, if you're not following us on social media already, please make sure you do so. We are at Christmas Countdown Show on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and at Xmas Pod on the X. And you can also watch full episodes. We actually just released earlier this week on Monday the St. Jude holiday special with Howie Mandel.
This was like a fully produced special. This is a big deal for us.
Graphics and like, voiceover stuff.
Yes.
It's very, very cool. So go to our YouTube page to not only check out that video, but all videos of our show and Disney Countdown. That is youtube.com/Countdown Network. The link for all of those are also in the episode notes.
We should also just tell people while we're listing this stuff off.
Yeah.
What's our link for the St. Jude thing, just in case people are.
Yeah, because they have up until I think the end of the year
till the 31st
to donate and qualify for the sticker pack.
The sticker pack.
It is stjude.org/Christmas Countdown.
Yes.
And I'll put that link in the episode notes as well so people can get to it. If you give $50 or more, you get a limited edition sticker pack, which features art by St. Jude patients.
Yep, from the
and
kids.
Also a cool sticker of our show, and then a St. Jude sticker as well. Plus, your money is going to go towards an amazing, amazing cause. So make sure you check that out if you're able to. Every dollar counts, even if it's just $1. Just do what you can.
Yes.
What else? Rate and review. Yes. If you're loving what you're hearing on the show, if you're new to the show, if you are a longtime listener, those ratings, those reviews really, really do a ton to ensure that more people discover our show. And we love to read.
And it makes us feel good.
It makes us feel great. My number one tip for the holiday season to get into the spirit, give me a review.
Start a podcast, get reviews, saying how great
I just
you
want them all to review us.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Tip number one is to help me feel better. I need you to give me a review.
That's so good.
But and if you're not able to review, because I think you can only leave reviews on Apple, you can DM us, and somebody actually did that this week, and we wanted to share that. Do you want to?
You know
read
what?
That one?
I'll let you read this one because I actually have a review that somebody sent to me directly that I can read after this one.
Okay,
so you read the first one.
All right, so this one is coming to us from one of our loyal listeners, Jana Taylor, and Jana says to us, "Okay, guys, ... haven't felt very festive this year. My mom is sick and all that goes with it. Was ready to say I'm not decorating and I've always decorated by Veterans Day. Well, today, listening to your Santa song countdown, I now feel like decorating and getting it all together. Thanks for keeping us in the festive mood and reminding us that we have a lot to celebrate. Christmas tree Santa, Christmas tree Santa, Christmas tree Santa, Christmas tree emojis. Jana, thank you for your message. Obviously, we're sending prayers to your mom, you know, everything that she's navigating, and sending our best to you and the rest of your family. Just want to pray for peace and for strength for you guys as you navigate a challenging time. And just we're grateful that our show can help to sort of balance out things that are hard, in life. I mean, that's our mission here, right? Is to just spread light and love out into the world, and to know that you found our show and that it's helping you through a difficult time. It means the world. So please know that our thoughts and prayers are with you, and sending all our best to you this holiday season.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, I got a review from Drew Monkmeyer.
Drew Monkmeyer.
Drew Monkmeyer.
Never heard that name. Okay.
It's a great name. And he sent this to me a couple weeks ago. He said, "Hi, Eric. I pray you're doing well this Thanksgiving. My name is Drew Monkmeyer. I need to share with you how much I truly enjoyed your What We Are Thankful For list on the most recent episode. I've certainly connected with you on the first item you mentioned on your list, faith. I too am Lutheran and actually teach and principal at a Lutheran school in Peoria, Illinois. I know you mentioned you went to college in Peoria on an episode. Bradley? Yes, I did. I responded to him. I did. I grew up just west of Aurora, Illinois, Chicago suburbs, where I grew up, and moved this way for my calling to teach at a Lutheran school. I recently moved into administration in the school, and there are so many joys and days where I know the Lord is certainly guiding us through the challenges. Your podcast is one of those things that helps encourage. I have loved celebrating Christmas early since I was away from home in college, and I connected right away with finding a Christmas podcast to enjoy. Thank you for sharing your positive energy. My family and I love it. God's blessings." Oh, that was really nice. So thank you, Drew. I sent him a message back, but we wanted to highlight it here as well.
That's so kind of Drew to reach out and to share that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I feel like I say this every time we get these super, really kind and supportive messages, is that, you feel this sort of like, I don't know, I think we both felt like this draw to do this thing, and we were excited about it in the beginning. We didn't know what the show was even going to be, right? And then it just felt like the universe, God, whatever you sort of believe in, was like, sort of like directing us down this path, that something about what happens when you and I get together in a room and talk about this thing that we love. And Christmas is at the heart of it, but so much of just life is at the heart of it. And I feel like we have just found a way to get into people's hearts, and
put some good in the world.
That's a gift, man. It really, really is a gift, and I'm grateful. So Drew and Jenna, thank you for those kind words. And speaking of kind people who reach out to us, we haven't been here in the studio, for a few weeks.
We've got some backup mail.
The mail has been coming so much so I can't fit it all in this bag, and I don't think we can fit it all in this episode. I think we're going to have to do some more in the next one. Right. So we'll start with the one that's in the special delivery bag, and I'll show that for all the people who are watching on our YouTube page. So this one is coming to us from longtime fan. Based out of Connecticut. This is Teresa.
Oh, yes.
Teresa is so amazing. She's always commenting on stuff on the private Facebook
in the group.
But I'll go ahead and read this card, and then we'll see what's in this little box here. So I love it. It says "no peeking." Is what it says on the card.
I like that.
It says, "Eric and Danny, Merry Early Christmas."
There we go.
I saw these items while doing some holiday shopping and knew I had to get them for you. Danny, as the resident Christmas Vacation #1 fan, I thought these pens would be perfect. And Eric, as resident #1 fan of It's a Cow Christmas, I thought this ornament would be a beautiful addition for you.
That's good. That's good.
P.S. I did try and find an onion ornament, but to no avail. Thank you for all the happiness.
Did she put a G in onion?
She put it in parentheses.
Okay, that's fair.
So
that's
it was
fair.
like, for Eric, it's
sure,
there.
Yes.
But for the rest of the world, it's not. Thank you for the happiness, delight, warmth, and joy you've provided me in the last year plus. With love, Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa.
We love you.
Excited. Let me see if I can feel what feels like me. Oh, that's you. Because it popped out of the bottom.
Does it feel like
there
a cow?
Go. Oh, it's popping out. Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! This is so good.
Look at that.
Wait, is there something in this one, or is this just stuffing?
I think it's just extra
stuffing.
tissue paper.
Wait, I just called it stuffing. That's what we need to.
Is that what we need to call tissue paper?
The extra loaded
tissue
paper.
Amazing.
Like we need more
should create
stuffing.
tissue paper that looks like stuffing.
Yes.
And you stuff, and then you create a wrapping paper that looks like turkey.
Like turkey, so then you open it and there's stuffing
stuffing
inside.
This is
a brilliant idea,
How
Danny.
has nobody ever done that?
Oh, this is good.
Somebody's listening to this show and they are copywriting.
I am
trademarking it.
As we've mentioned many times on the show, I'm incredibly busy with the show right now. I'm a little tired. I almost just threw the ornament instead of the wrapping paper. I was trying to think to throw the wrapping paper on the floor, and I almost yeeted the. I was like, yeet! Oh gosh, no, no.
We haven't talked about yeeting since season 1.
My son talks about yeeting all the time now.
Oh, see, I don't have a child.
The 8-year-olds are just like yeet, yeet.
Yeet! Well, they was like hanging out with the kids at Christmas Story the other night at your theater. Yes. Everyone was like, bro, and like dapping it up. And I was like, how old are you guys? You're like 9. Like, is that?
But think about it. When you're a kid, especially at that like 8, 9, 10-year-old, all you want to do is feel like you're like 17.
Yeah. I love the one kid who was wearing like the white tank top undershirt
and like
thing.
a chain, gold chain,
and he was like dapping everybody. He was like, "What's up, bro?" And I was
Jacob.
like, "Who is this guy? I love this guy so much."
Okay,
anyway,
Teresa, I'm looking at my beautiful cow with a little cowboy hat on and a little bandana and cowboy boots on the hooves. Boots. That is so good. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I love it.
That's going to look great on your tree. All right, and then Teresa got me 2 pens. This is awesome. Oh, this is great. So they're those pens where when you click them, like a different message pops up in the little window.
Those.
So this one
says different lines. Nice.
Yeah. So this one has like Clark Griswold on it in the middle of a wreath, and the first one says "Joy to the Squirrel." The next one says "Merry Clarksmas."
Yeah.
The next one says "Nuts About Christmas." Next one says "Not the Brightest Bulb."
Sure.
And then "Joy to the Squirrel," and then this one we've got "Don't Hog the Nog." Crazy About Christmas. Fun old-fashioned family Christmas.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, can I refill your eggnog?
That's pretty
good. Take you out in the
good.
middle of nowhere, leave you for dead.
That's pretty good.
That's great. Thank you so much, Teresa. That is so incredibly sweet of you. Thank you so much. And then we have a big box.
You want to save that for the next one, or you want to do that today?
I think we got to do that one today.
All right, we'll do it today. Let's do
get into it. This one's been sitting here for a couple weeks. And I know this is one of our most loyal. And I want to shout this person out because I don't know if you saw on the private Patreon a couple days ago.
Who's this from?
This is from Jennifer
Jones.
Jennifer Jones.
Oh yes, okay.
So Jennifer and one of our other loyal fans, Nikki, planned a meetup.
I saw this,
and they got together.
That's really cool.
Which I just thought was like the coolest thing ever because they did not know each other before our show.
Yeah.
And that they reached out to each other and they planned this meetup and they had like a big Christmas tree.
And they wore our merch.
They were wearing our merch. Like I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. And it's like we talk about this all the time on the show of like this merry community. Like it really is the most merry community.
There's a lot in this box.
There's a lot in this box. Let's get to it. Do you want to read the postcard for this one? This is from Jennifer.
A beautiful card from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Beautiful.
Which is the first. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on checking it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idaho Falls,
That's
Idaho.
why
You're right.
I think that's why she sent all this stuff. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Merry Christmas from the real Idaho Falls. You know I love you boys to the moon and back. You becoming my boys the first season, and since then we added Chris and now John. She didn't know how to spell John. She put an H.
She also didn't mention Emilio.
No Emilio. You're out, Emilio. Our family just keeps growing. How awesome is that? Please enjoy the chocolates from my hometown. Ooh. I pilfered some from the box to send to Chris. Don't be alarmed. Love you all forever. Love Jen. This is what our falls actually look like. So that's the Idaho Falls.
Oh, that's amazing.
Actual
yeah, because the guy, Scotty Briggs,
that's right,
gets sent to Idaho Falls.
Idaho Falls.
And then she sent another postcard, and then she sent like a bunch of like visitor guide type information, like the visitor guide, and then destination Idaho Falls. This does look beautiful, by the way. I've been wanting to go to Idaho for a while, like Coeur d'Alene.
I don't think I've ever been to Idaho. I've been to a lot of the states in the Union, but
I've driven through it. I don't know if I've ever spent much time there. And then look, she even sent the hockey team schedule.
Let's
Look
see
at
if they have the lineup and if Scotty Briggs is in the lineup. Let's see here.
What would he be? He'd probably be a forward, I would
Dude,
guess, right?
I have not held one of these in so long. I used to love
sports team schedule?
a little tiny folded up sports team schedule. I remember I used to get the Blackhawks one, and I would like look at it and be like, okay, these are the home games, and I'd circle them.
Because now it's all released online, right? But
Yeah.
like back in the day,
You'd get them like at a restaurant. They'd be like,
or like Unocal 76 gas stations.
Sure, yeah,
would have them here in SoCal for the Dodgers.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Put that right there.
Put that right there. I love that. All right, so she mentioned chocolate. Maybe we should start by opening that up. Oh my gosh. This says on the box, it says by far the best.
But FAR is FARR. That maybe is the FAR Candy Company.
Candy Company, yeah, which was started in 1911.
Okay.
Wow.
So they've been making chocolate for a while.
They know what they're doing. All right, let's crack open the box. Oh my gosh. Look at all these treats.
Bunch of individually
Do you want me to
things.
pass you one?
Yeah,
to
let's see what we
try?
got here.
Well, what did you here? This feels like. Does this say nuts on it? No, this is mallow. Oh yeah, I'll try that.
Like marshmallow in it.
Do they have a peanut butter one?
Let's see here. We got a Grizzly Tracks, which is Huckleberry Marshmallow Divinity Center dipped in rich milk chocolate.
Wow.
We have a peanut cluster.
Can I try that one?
Yep. There you go.
Thank you.
We got
that's heavy.
What's this one called?
Is that a
Yellowstone Moose Bar?
Ooh.
Which is moist. Oh, it's like mousse. Like mousse. Didn't we talk about mousse the other day?
That one's for you.
Divinity covered in milk chocolate sprinkled with peanut butter chips. Okay, yeah, that's for me.
You for sure.
And there's more underneath, and they're different.
Gosh, whoa!
There's a bunch more. Okay, let's open this one first.
Okay, I'm gonna toss you the mallow nut back.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying the peanut cluster. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, this,
Now, Chris, have you received your chocolates?
Yeah, she sent me, I think, at least like 5 or 6 of them.
And how have you eaten all of them, or you still have some left?
I think we have a couple left, but they're pretty good. They're very rich.
Yes,
I like rich.
They
chocolate.
look like they would be rich.
All right, this is everyone's favorite part of our show,
where we eat in
stuff
the
our
microphones
mouths full of food. Here we go. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Is this just chocolate and peanuts? Is that all this is?
I think that's what it said it was.
Oh, they're like fresh roasted peanuts.
Okay, mine is. I'm going into
gosh,
the
that's really good.
the moose. What did I say this was? Yellowstone Moose Bar. Here we
That's
go.
good. Ooh, that's chewy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's almost like there's caramel in it or something.
Yeah,
too.
I saw like strings
Okay,
coming out.
that is delicious.
Is it good?
Oh, that's really good.
Oh wow, that was really good.
Oh, and then the peanut butter chips hit you at the end.
Wait, there's peanut butter in it too?
There's peanut butter chips on it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see if there's another. There's
I don't know if I can eat this much candy this early in the morning.
I know.
Is
They
it
are
not?
very rich.
Yeah.
I've taken one bite and I almost feel like, okay,
Yeah,
that's my daily limit.
That will hit me for the next week.
Wow, that's
But
really
I'm gonna
good,
give. I feel like we should give these out to like our family and our
should.
friends to
Yeah.
try. Maybe I'll throw a couple like in some stockings this year. What's that one?
This is called peanut butter mudslide.
Oh my gosh!
You're gonna love that, Danny.
And it's like round. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like it could be like a Reese's peanut butter cup sort of situation.
Then we have a blueberry blondie. Wow. We have an Idaho huckleberry. Huckleberry is a big thing up in Yellowstone. Did you know this?
When I think of huckleberry, all I think of is one thing:
Huckleberry Finn.
Tombstone.
I'll be your huckleberry.
I'm
sure.
your huckleberry.
Here's a Teton raspberry.
Ooh, like the Grand Tetons.
Yeah, exactly.
So are they all?
Wait,
sort of
maybe I
named-
have been to Idaho. No, because when I went to Yellowstone, I think I stayed in Montana. I
Do
think
the Grand Tetons go? Because they're in Montana, right?
they
But do
are in
go
Montana.
into
They're like
Idaho?
right next to Yellowstone.
Okay, yes.
It's like a different national park, but they literally almost like butt up against each other.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay, so that's just the
Very
first
good.
part of this gift.
Oh my
from
gosh,
Jennifer.
there's more. Okay.
There's
I'm
more.
setting
Now,
chocolate
I know
down.
there's 3 bags in here. Oh, this one says Eric on it, so that makes life easy. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, that's
Okay.
for Eric. She sent a gift for John.
Oh,
But
nice.
she put an H in parentheses.
That,
just
yeah,
not
that's what I was
knowing
saying.
If it was J-O-N.
She put that on the other thing
Oh,
too.
that's awesome.
All right, here we go.
All right, I'm gonna throw that over there for John.
Ooh,
and his
okay.
station. Wait. I haven't
Okay.
opened mine up yet. Hold on.
You might have the same thing, so
Okay.
I'll wait to say what it is.
Okay. All right. Should we pull it out on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh!
It's a Spud Kings hat. I love it so much. Oh my god!
It's
I'm
a
taking
skull
off.
cap.
I'm gonna take off my Santa cap.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
gonna put the
awesome.
Spud Kings.
That one is perfect for you.
Oh,
And it matches your outfit.
It matches.
Look at that.
I love this hat. I'm gonna wear this all
Oh my
the time.
gosh.
So the Spud Kings again are Idaho Falls,
Oh my gosh.
Spud Kings. Hallmark is going to love this. This is all promoting Checking It Twice.
Checking
That's
It
right.
Twice. They're going to get some Paul Campbell love, some
love
Checking It
this.
Twice love.
This is
That's
great.
the
She
Spud
she
King.
sent me one of the Spud Kings hats too.
Which one did
Nice.
you get?
I got a Spud Kings. I think you got a special one. She said.
Oh, Eric.
The yellow one?
No, I think Danny got a special one.
Oh,
What
the
is
green
yours
one.
also a Spud Kings?
Yeah.
Mine's black.
Is it black? It looks green to me. I'm colorblind, though.
I think it's black. Maybe I'm colorblind.
No, it's black. But it does somehow look green to me.
What is yours? Does yours look like Eric's or?
Yeah, mine's like Eric's.
Oh, okay. Well, should I peek into John's and see what John got?
Yeah. See what
Do it.
I'll swap them and I'll be like, "Here's your."
Yeah,
if I like his
look
more.
what she sent you.
Or I think. Wait a second.
John's is different,
oh,
too.
John's is different. John's is red.
John's is the red.
Okay. So I guess I got a special one.
All right.
All right.
I like it.
That's awesome. This was so kind. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, my
Oh
gosh.
my gosh, we'll give John
We're
his beanie
drowning
when
in
he's,
riches here.
Back in the studio. This is amazing. Oh, our fans are the best.
That was
Absolutely
good.
Love it.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna do something right now.
I would
Danny.
love that. Please.
You mentioned an old-fashioned Christmas.
Yes.
I have a song to play for you.
Okay.
Now, everyone just stick with me for the next 5 minutes, okay? I know what I'm saying and what you're hearing. You may go, what? What are we listening to? Just trust me. This is it's going to knock your socks off.
Yeah. Like in a good way?
Yeah?
Yeah. Question
You
mark?
just
Voice
got to hear.
inflection
Okay.
Up?
I was on the old TikTok the other day,
Okay.
and I came across a podcast called What the Podcast.
Okay.
And there was a gentleman on that show that played this song for his fellow podcast hosts.
Okay.
Blind listen, blind react.
Okay.
And it was so interesting
Okay.
that I want to play it for you.
Were there other
and
words you
Chris.
wanted to use there other than
No,
okay.
no. Interesting really is the right word.
I thought you were going to say disturbing.
No,
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay,
I
so
love
I'm gonna
interesting.
play something for you.
Okay.
It's 4 minutes long.
Okay.
You got to go for the whole thing.
4 minutes.
Ride it with me.
Buckle up.
This is a song called "An Old-Fashioned Christmas"
Okay.
by
I love an old-fashioned
by
Christmas.
Linda Bennett.
Linda Bennett. Okay.
It's lovely.
Okay.
You're gonna enjoy.
Sounds
this.
like a sweet
Here
tune.
we go. Ready? Here we go.
Nice start.
Yeah. Charming.
This is your music, news, and weather station, bringing you the best in Christmas music on this beautiful Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Look outside, the snow is falling. What a sight to see.
Very Carpenter's-esque.
Yeah.
Daddy will be coming home as happy as can be.
Okay.
He'll be walking through the door 10 minutes after 9. 'Cause the bus he takes each night is always right on time. It's gonna be a very Merry Christmas.
This is sweet.
Yeah.
With all the children by the Christmas tree. It's gonna be a real old-fashioned Christmas.
Real old-fashioned.
Old fashioned. Yeah.
For my children, their daddy
And me.
So this is the wife singing?
Yeah.
Okay. And the kids are singing? Yeah. This is very sweet. Yeah.
We're sorry to interrupt this program, but a bulletin has just been handed me. There's been a serious accident involving the number 5 bus out of New Haven. The only information we have is that the bus skidded on a patch of ice and slammed into a tree. Stay tuned to this station for further details.
Mommy, isn't that the bus Daddy rides each night?
What?
Put your mind at ease, my children. Everything's all right.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone, don't get excited. Things will be okay. Nothing bad is gonna happen on this Christmas Day. It's gonna be a very Merry Christmas with all the children.
Is there a video for this or just the song? Okay.
It's gonna be a real old-fashioned Christmas for my children, their daddy, and me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed the latest report involving bus number 5 out of New Haven. And from all indications, we're sorry to report that there were no survivors.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, this just can't happen. What am I to do?
Oh my gosh.
What have I got left in life?
Oh my gosh.
To look forward to?
What have I got left in life to look forward to?
Who will walk me down the aisle
Oh my gosh.
on my wedding day? Who is gonna buy me toys and take me out to play?
Oh my gosh.
Daddy! Daddy!
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wait, what?
No, it's late, and I missed my bus. Well, don't just stand there. Help me with these presents.
Oh
my
The daddy and me.
Wow. Wow.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
I want to
Okay.
know how he got home. If he didn't take the bus, how'd he get home?
He didn't take the number 5 out of New
So
Haven.
he took a different bus.
Oh my
Wow. That,
gosh.
for lack of a better word, that takes you on a ride.
It really,
Oh my goodness.
really does.
I did not see that coming.
Neither did I.
Any of it.
The way that it breaks in with the news bulletins
Yes.
is so disconcerting.
Yeah, and it like all of a sudden like the key turns to a
Yes,
minor
yes.
chord and like everything just feels really intense and dramatic. Like who's gonna walk me down the aisle? Oh my gosh.
So again, if you want to listen to that yourself, I couldn't find it on Spotify, but I found
Okay.
it on YouTube, and it's called "An Old-Fashioned Christmas, Daddy's Home" by Linda Bennett, and it's from like 1975.
I was gonna ask, when did that come out? And was it released to be like a joke, or
I
was
don't
this like
think
a
so.
real serious song?
I think it was a real serious.
Oh my gosh! Like, did it get a radio play? Like, I want to know. I have so many questions
It
about
is
this song.
so
now.
weird, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it may be the weirdest song I've ever heard.
It's super disturbing. I wouldn't say it's the weirdest. One of the weirdest songs I've ever heard of was, do you remember, was it on like Adult Swim or something years ago? They did like the take on like a sitcom, so like Too Many Cooks.
Oh yeah, that was
Too
weird.
many
Yeah,
cooks,
yeah,
too
yeah.
many, and then it just keeps going,
going
and
and
going and
forward,
going,
yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like in the future. And
Yeah,
it's
that one
really
was very weird.
creepy.
Isn't that great though?
Yeah, I can't believe that is a thing.
Interesting really was the right word.
Interesting,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah, because like you get really sad for
Yeah,
them.
very
with them
sad.
Daddy comes home.
Also, I mean, there were no survivors on that bus, so it's
So
not
you
a
feel really
completely
bad.
joyful
No, like think about all the other people who were singing the same song, waiting for Dad to come
down
home,
the street.
and he's not.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, I feel like a music video needs to be made.
Somebody needs to like
that
animate, like the ones that they do for Frank Sinatra
Yes.
videos now. They need to do that for an old-fashioned
my
Christmas, Daddy's Home.
That is-
So
that is
thanks everybody
something.
for bearing with that 5-minute emotional roller coaster.
That was intense.
But I heard it. I was like, I gotta play this for Danny.
well, I'm glad we got to do that. And speaking of like news sort of
Yes.
things, since it had a little news break in there, we do have some Christmas news.
Yes, we do.
We interrupt our program to bring you this
Christmas news.
This first piece of news, I actually learned about. I was in the kitchen the other day. I think I was making lunch for my daughter, was making her PB&J, and I looked over at my little Amazon device, and it'll give like news reports. And there was a news story that said that there was a massive shortage of Christmas trees, and I was like, "What? How's that?
Why?
Why? How?
Yeah.
All the things." I think for me, because we have artificial trees in the house.
Sure.
I don't really go to the lots and see sort of what's happening, but I will say that one of my buddies sent me a text the other day, a picture of his tree, and he goes, "Guess how much?" And it was $320.
Yeah.
The tree that he
I'll tell you,
got.
we just got our tree on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And we went to Home Depot because as much as I love to go to those little Christmas tree lots, and I like to support a small business and everything, your buddy's not joking. For like a basic 6-7 foot tree, that's not a huge tree. No. That's a pretty basic Christmas tree. You're looking at over $200.
What?
And knowing that you're going to have it for a month, like that's
wild.
That's crazy.
And I wonder if it connects to this shortage. So I watched the whole news report, and they revealed that the main contributing factor is that a lot of the trees we get that are like 7-8 feet tall take 15 years to grow.
Yep.
And if you track back 15 years, we were in the middle of the recession.
People weren't spending money.
People weren't buying trees. So all the growers were like, well, is this going to continue? I'm just going to plant less trees.
Yep.
And so as a result of that, we find ourselves in this place where there's this shortage of trees, which
supply
would lead me to believe supply and demand.
Yeah.
You know, like there was this woman they were interviewing who owned a lot in Chicago, and she was like, we were supposed to get 1,000 trees. I ordered 1,000. We got 500.
Oof.
So like for her to make what she normally makes, she's got to double the price. Double the price. Yeah. Like it's simple mathematics, which is just crazy. So I'm curious for everyone who's listening out there, are you navigating a similar thing? And if you are, I wonder if people
I'd love to know.
Bought artificial trees, because if it's like 300
yeah.
for a fresh one or 300 for one that you can have for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It feels like you got to go.
You know, the same kind of thing happened with bourbon.
Really?
Because bourbon takes, like 8-9 years to really mature and be at like good drinking bourbon. And bourbon became really popular sort of like in the, I think it was the late 2010s or like 2016, 17. There was just a big push towards people drinking bourbon, but there wasn't enough bourbon to go out because it had not been that popular. And then they were like, we can't make it fast enough. Like, we can't make it overnight. It takes 8 or 9 years to make it.
Is that why Pappy Van Winkle like blew up and got so expensive?
Yeah.
Like, I remember all of a sudden this random
everybody was
bourbon,
like
everyone was like, you get to Pappy?
Gotta get to Pappy.
And it was like $900
that's crazy.
for a bottle. Yeah. And I tried it.
I've tried it too.
I was like,
I've had better bourbons.
Yeah, same. Yeah. That I did not.
And more drinkable bourbons. Like, I felt like when I drank Pappy, I was like, I see that this clearly has a lot of body and history to it. You can feel it, but it's not something that'll be like, oh, I want to drink this.
No, whereas that's like a once, like every few months.
Yeah.
Like throw an ice cube in it and just slowly sip.
I'd rather have like a Four Roses. That's a very drinkable bourbon.
You
ever had Four Roses? Blanton's.
Have you tried the Sinatra like select ones that they've released through Jack Daniels?
No,
I have.
I think I've seen an ad for them, but I've not tried them yet.
I have one of them. Ooh, I only drink it on like super special occasions, but maybe for a finale, maybe we can cheers at the end.
I like it.
Give you a little
I like that.
But there's one more piece of Christmas news.
Yes, I saw this one. This is good.
Isn't this thrilling?
This is very good. Macaulay Culkin, our boy, from Home Alone, who's now, let's see, he's got to be,
it's like 43, I want to say.
Early 40s, about our age. He got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which was really cool because he was a big movie star, even though it's not what he does now. Like he had a big impact on the industry, and there's 100%. People that have done less or have had less of an impact that have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I thought that the ceremony that they did, Catherine O'Hara was there, which was awesome, who played his mom in Home Alone. She came and gave a great speech just about how, like, you were such a good kid and you just were so great in the movie and you were a great actor, even though you were 9 years old or whatever. And she just seemingly had so much love for him still, and he seemed to be very happy that she was there.
That's awesome.
And then his speech, when he sort of gave his, like, thank you at the end of the ceremony, he's like so humble. He seems like a real, actual person of the world, you know? And it's one of those things where I think he had such massive success in the early part of his life that I get the sense that he was like, I did that, and now I live a very quiet life with my wife and my kids. I like being a dad. I like staying home, playing games with my kids, you know? And I just thought that was so cool that, you know, he was one of those child stars who didn't go off the deep end and have tragedy and disasters all around him. He like was able to like have a real life and seems very, very happy and humble and appreciative. And
100%.
It was very cool.
It was cool, you know, to hear like how family has become such a big thing for him. And I think some of his family was there and Paris Jackson was there. It was just cool. You know, it felt super long overdue for him. You know, we think about Home Alone, but obviously he did My Girl. And,
Sure.
I feel like there was a ton of other stuff that Uncle Buck, he was in, which was his first John Hughes movie. And then John was like, he has got to play.
This is my Home Alone kid.
Kevin. And it's just, you know, to be able to carry the weight, I think, of those films at such a young age says a lot about a person. So congrats to Macaulay. That's a big moment. The Mac. But you know, speaking of, you know, big celebs and Christmas movies, we have a guest who is joining us here. Should we bring him in?
Let's bring him in.
All right, friends. We teased this at the beginning of the episode, and we are so thrilled to welcome to the Christmas Countdown show, hopefully our new friend here, one of the stars of Magic and Mistletoe on Hallmark Channel, which premieres this Friday night at 8, 7 Central. Everyone, please welcome in Paul Campbell. Paul, how are you?
I'm good. I'll wave. I'm holding the camera in one hand. I'm really not equipped with proper tripods, etc. So I'm trying to keep this thing steady like a pro. So I'll wave real gently.
This is awesome. Well, we appreciate you hanging out. You know, last year we got to chat with one of your co-stars from Three Wise Men, Andrew Walker. So we feel like we've almost got the triad of the dudes, you know, now that we're chatting with you here today.
Right. So you got the top ones out of the way and you're just working your way to the bottom. I get it.
Working our way to the
I would have gone after Walker first too, you know?
You know,
but he won't speak to me off camera. So
that's amazing. Well, we're excited to get to hang out with you here today. You know, first off, how's your holiday season going so far? You know, we're right in the thick of the Christmas season. How's yours going so far?
here's a funny thing about being a Hallmark actor and now a Hallmark writer is my holiday season starts like January 15th and runs through to December 26th and then picks up again around January 15th.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's awesome.
when I start writing, we sort of live immersed in Christmas all year round, and I have no complaints about it. You really are. It's like Christmas on the brain. I mean, certainly now that I've been writing, and it's been 3 or 4 years of nonstop Christmas on the brain. So definitely the weather now feels a little more in line with the actual holiday season. It's a little tough to get super hyped about Christmas in July, but yeah, my holiday season is shaping up great. And also having a 7-year-old makes a huge difference because you have like the perfect age to see. He's so still joyful. The wonder of Christmas is still very much alive and real. So, we got, Elf on a Shelf and things like that. Those are huge things. And it's impossible not to be thrust into the holiday season when that little mischievous guy starts showing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we need a
Yeah.
Hallmark Elf on the Shelf movie. That feels like untapped.
I gotta call my agent. Yeah,
yeah.
we just got rich. Hang on.
Some
I got
holiday
time. It's all right.
tradition, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Or maybe it's like a contest
That's
to like
actually
create the
really-
next great holiday tradition sort of thing that like ties in reality TV with like social media. We don't ask for much, Paul. We just like, special thanks, maybe
Yeah.
in the end credits, something like that.
I'm gonna call it Midge in the Fridge. No, not Midge. It's gonna be like that. Actually, I was thinking of the name. There's got to be what's an adult version where you could. I realized that sounded horrible, and that actually wasn't where my mind was going at all. It's not Steve up my sleeve. It's
It's like
Something like
there's
that.
but there's I want a funny adult version of somebody that just keeps popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
it should be your boss,
Like-
boss on the
Yeah.
something, or
That's-
boss in the
that's-
moss,
that's-
or
yeah.
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I think we all just got rich. So
Okay, here's a good question for you. As a Hallmark writer, can you give us any insight into the naming of the movies and what that
Yes.
process is?
Please.
Do the movies start with a title, or are they written and then is there a special titling department? Because we love the names of all the Hallmark movies, but I need more information of how this process creatively unfolds.
gents, I wish I knew. I honestly, I don't know. There's a team of magical people working behind the scenes that obviously when you're naming 40 plus movies a year that all have sort of Christmassy titles, I don't know how they do it. There's an algorithm, there's some sort of thing. I assure you the vast majority of these movies start with a name.
Mm.
But it's like you kind of just give it something vague and, relatively usable, knowing that once it goes into the machine, they have to sort of slip and slide and maneuver around all the other films. So you never really know what the movie's gonna come out with or why certain names are chosen. It's one of the most fun parts of writing a script is going, what's it going to be called?
Yeah.
We just never know.
Yeah.
We joked earlier this season, we're like, it feels like it's a bunch of dads who are really into dad jokes who are like in some room and they're like, okay, so this movie's about like a hockey player who's sort of like fallen on tough times, but he's fallen in love. And the guy's like, oh, I got one for you. Checking it twice. Done. Next one. Because they're all very punny and they're so good. We're huge fans.
Guys, I can assure you, if it was a room full of dads coming up with these names, I would have been invited to that club.
That's a great point.
Coming up with like the cheesiest name possible. I'm like, oh no, I'm their first pick for that. They're not inviting me to this. There's a real, and honestly, I love it. I love the names.
Yeah.
I'm like, it brings me so much joy. And I don't think they miss. I go, yep, that's it. That's what it's called. Every time you're like, yep, nailed it.
Yes.
Yeah, like Never Been Christ. That was another one
That was a
that
great one,
just
yeah.
really
So
got us
great.
chuckling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
good.
great. Never
Yeah.
been Christ. You're like, yeah, of course it is. Of
Yeah.
course. When we wrote, Kimberly Sustin and I, when we wrote Starlight Christmas, we wrote it was called A Starlight Christmas, and when it came out, it was Christmas by Starlight. And we just went, great, sure. Somebody inside was like, nope,
This is better.
it's not A Starlight Christmas. It's Christmas by
By
Starlight.
Starlight,
And that,
yeah.
that was it. It might also have to do, if I'm going to get nerdy, it might have to do with like alphabetically a C instead of Starlight, a C shows up somewhere else in a Google search
on a
somewhere where they
guide
go,
or
if the
something,
more
yeah.
titles that start with
100%,
Christmas.
yeah.
It's like for searches, there's definitely some thought going into these things. So I don't know.
100%. So, speaking of, like dad jokes and being a dad, like you shared you have a 7-year-old. Are you starting, other than Elf on the Shelf, are there any fun like family holiday traditions that maybe were a part of your childhood that now you're like starting to bring to life with your
Pass
kid?
on, yeah.
Not really. No.
Okay. You're making your own.
I think I'm trying to think of the traditions that I had when I was a kid were mostly really sort of around Christmas Day. I had a huge extended family growing up, so Christmas dinner was always a big thing, and there would be 20 to 25 people. That's changed dramatically now. Christmas is a much smaller affair. With the size of my family and people have moved away and stuff like that. So and even Christmas morning, which was, I had 2 siblings, and Christmas morning was very structured. Mom and dad were like, absolutely could not come downstairs before 7 a.m. And we would sit at the top of the stairs for sometimes 2 or 3 hours waiting for the clock to tick over to 7. Like,
Right.
nobody can afford a house anymore. So I have a condo. There's no stairs.
Especially not a 2-story house. Come on.
I'm in a 1-level, 1.5 bed condo here. It's really hard to go. You wait on the other side of that open concept room until 7 a.m.
That's so true.
The kid's sleeping under the tree already. So I think there's something really fun about Elf on the Shelf wasn't around when I was a kid, and had it been, absolutely, that's something that we would have incorporated into our son's world. But that's a huge tradition. And then, just like having a gathering, having a Christmas Eve gathering. Christmas is so much more about our friends who are also our kind of our extended family now, that when I was a kid, the family friends weren't really part of it. Now friends are such a big part of it. So we're kind of trying to develop our own new traditions here, and I think we're doing a pretty okay job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Now, Paul, you have achieved the dream. I myself am an actor as well, and so many actors were like, I should be writing, and I could write this so much better. Talk to me about your transition, or your addition, I should say, from being an actor into writing, and how did your partnership with Kimberly, how did that sort of come about? And talk to me a little bit about that.
Like most things in my life that are good, I've kind of just stumbled into them a little bit. I think I've always operated with the idea that I could do anything until somebody told me that I couldn't, or that I was capable of doing anything until somebody said you shouldn't be doing that. And I've always really, really loved the Hallmark movies. I loved the first two movies that I did were written by an incredible writing duo named Tiffy and Neil Dabrowski, who are legendary among Hallmark writers, and they don't really write for Hallmark anymore, but they were pretty prolific back in the day, and they wrote, beautiful dialogue and comedy and heart and funny and the really great storytelling. And so I got really inspired early on, and kind of spoiled having done two of their movies. And anytime another script would come to me, I'd always improvise stuff and, kind of do my actor pass and come up with fun ideas. And then I was like, I should just pitch something. I think I could bring something really funny to the table. So I pitched an idea for a movie called Sun, Sand, and Romance. And I pitched it to an executive at Hallmark that I'd worked with. And she said, this is great. We'd love to make the movie. We're going to hire some writers. We're going to bring some writers on board to write the script, but you can executive produce it and you can star in it. I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And then the writers were kind of struggling with the script, and it went through a couple different iterations and a couple different sets of writers. And we were about a week out from filming, and they still didn't quite have the voice. The story was there, but it wasn't as funny as I wanted, and they hadn't really got my character. And I just said, can I just take the script and do a pass of all the dialogue?
Yeah.
So I did. I took the script and I rewrote a lot of the dialogue, and it really worked. And I think it gave the network confidence that I could do it. And then I kind of laid low for a couple of years. And then I met Kimberly on a Godwink Christmas as an actor. And she said, hey, I've got this idea for a movie. I don't know what to do with it. And I said, let's write the script. Let's just write it. So we wrote it, and that was A Starlight Christmas. And we wrote a spec, and we took it into the network and said, what do you think? And they said, we think it's great. We're going to make it. And that was kind of it. As soon as we had opened the door and proven that we could do this thing, then the work never really stopped. And, here we are 4 years later, still working away.
Amazing.
That's incredible. Do you have any new writing projects? I know a lot of the big fans of Three Wise Men are eager for that sequel. Do you think, is that going to come?
We've been working on a couple things this year. This was a really strange year because of the strikes. And we did have one project that was kind of set to go for Christmas this year and ended up not happening. I know there's been a lot of talk about the sequel, and I think, Hallmark traditionally hasn't jumped at sequels because they're really difficult. And there's no question that that's bouncing around over there. I think everyone's just trying to figure out, is it the right way to go? Can you recapture the magic? Can you do it again? Are we smart to just let that thing be its own thing? Or if the right idea comes up, should we roll the dice and try and do a sequel? As of yet, you guys know as much as I do about it. But I know it's not off the table for sure.
Yeah, well, we had a blast with that one. I mean, the dancing scene with you guys, for the listeners out there who missed Three Wise Men and a Baby last year, go check it out. Yeah. It is incredible. It cracked me up so much. And then you guys did that on stage at Christmas Con, right? Didn't you rehash it for everybody, which was
We've done it
amazing.
Few times. Yeah, we've done it a few times. I was at an event on Saturday here in Vancouver, the first one ever in Vancouver, and people in the audience, I was doing a panel, and people were like, show us the dance. And I was like, there's only one of me. So I did the first opening beats. But yeah, there's been the dance, which honestly, I don't know if you've seen us talk about it before, but really it was just written into the script as the boys get up and do a silly dance,
right?
And over the course of the week prior, we didn't even have music for it. We didn't know what it was going to be. And we just started listening to these samples that our producer was bringing us. And he's like, these are free. These cost nothing. We wanted a big budget song. And he's like, here's what you get. And there was that weird Sugar Plum, like techno. We're like, what is this weird thing? Yes, this is perfect. And so over the course of the week at lunchtime, the three of us just banged out this stupid dance, and we hadn't really figured it out until the moment they called us upstairs to shoot it. It was right after lunch on Friday. Wow. And we had not even we never really had it completely done, and we just were like, no, let's just try it. And they got the first take, and that's what made it in the movie.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Now, Paul, this episode that you are on here today, we are talking about our top 5 ways to get into the holiday spirit. And you have let us know that you may be prepared with a little list to share with our listeners. Do you want to start off at number 5 there?
Sure, we're gonna build up to number one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all about the drama.
Wow, I did the math real quick on that. Okay. All right. I do have a list here, so I'm gonna start with number 5. My number 5 best way to get into the holiday spirit is, I think it's a pretty common one. Put up the tree.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna want to put up the tree. The second that tree goes up, it changes the whole space, especially when you live in a tiny open concept condo. You're never out of it's never out of your periphery.
That's right.
Right.
You know, you can even turn the lights off, but you're always seeing trees. So
Yeah.
get that tree up.
Love
And
that.
I would say position it. If you have a corner window, get it in the window.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
people driving
Let
by
people know.
are also affected by the tree, you know?
I like that.
That's great. Love that
Um,
one.
Light the heck out of it. Let the kid decorate it any way they want,
Yeah.
because the wackier the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's you know, there's no ego is the enemy of art. So let that kid just
Yes.
go and
And
love that.
dump
or pro
garland
tip,
on the tree.
get 2 trees and let your kids decorate one of them and let your wife decorate the other, so that way she can have it look exactly the way she wants it to look. At least that's what we've done in my house.
Sure. It's not a bad idea. Put one up out of reach. No.
Yeah.
That's the adult street. Number 4, I would say start Christmas shopping. I never do it early enough, but I find as soon as you get some of that Christmas shopping done, you start to get into the spirit. And I do like the idea of a sort of one for you, one for me thing. So, because, you know, you can't count on people to get you good stuff. So, for every gift you buy for someone else, buy something for yourself that you really like, keep the receipt,
I love
and then you can take it back if you have to. But if Christmas is a total wash, at
You
least
got
you have
some
all
good
that
stuff.
stuff that you bought for yourself.
I like
you know?
that. I like that plan.
That's a
Um,
pro tip for sure.
Mitigate the sadness early. Just get ahead of it.
That's brilliant.
Number 3,
Yeah.
I'm going to say the word stocking. I think you know where I'm going with this. Stocking the liquor cabinet. Okay. You're gonna want to really fill up on the liquor cabinet.
Yes.
You've heard the expression, the more the merrier. It applies here. Okay.
That's
Don't be
brilliant.
shy.
Be prepared.
With the
Yeah.
liquor, because at some point, no matter how good things are going, you're gonna need a drink at
Yeah.
some point. Number 2, hear me out. Don't shut off the podcast. I want you to hear me out until I've completed this whole thing. Tell the family Christmas is canceled.
Ooh.
Wow.
Expound.
Okay.
Let that marinate for a second. Let everybody really feel it. Like, especially if you have a family that's gotten a little bit, you know, apathetic, a little bit like, a little humbug. Tell them it's canceled this year.
Yeah.
You know how quickly they will get back on board when you tell them it's not canceled again? Like, the second you take something away from them, you give it back, they're on board 100%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's brilliant.
You go full pedal to the metal holiday spirit after that. I promise you.
High risk, high reward, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, well, could go sideways. And honestly, I'm not liable legally if that doesn't work out. This is a vocal disclaimer here.
We'll put it in the
Please
episode
don't edit
notes.
that
We'll
out.
put it in the episode notes. Now, do you let your wife, your significant other, in on this, or is it just a
Are you-
surprise for everybody?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And is it like a sitting at the table, like a pounding on the dinner table? Christmas is canceled, or is it very
Christmas is
nonchalant?
canceled. Should things really go sideways, see number 3. Stock that liquor cabinet. Okay, you're gonna want to go back to number 3. This is where that one comes in handy.
Great.
Okay,
Brilliant.
backup plans on backup plans.
Yes.
Smart.
And when you run out of liquor, at least you bought yourself a few nice
That's
things
right.
at the store.
Oh, it's
Wow.
all
okay.
set up.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
just
this.
you and your tree at the end of it all. I love it.
Number 1 is the big one.
Yeah.
You got to watch those Hallmark Christmas movies.
Oh, there it
There it
is.
is.
100%.
You
Yeah.
got to watch those Hallmark. You got to put them on before Halloween, October 25th. Forget Halloween. Let's steamroll that holiday, because who needs it as far as I'm concerned.
We're with you.
You put them on and you leave them on a loop, and you don't turn them off until December, till New Year's Eve, right? Till you're raising a toast and ringing in the new year. Then those movies can go off. But otherwise, 2 and quarter months of Christmas movies will put you in the holiday spirit like no other, I promise.
I love
That's
it.
such
Paul,
a great
that was
list.
a great list.
That was amazing. And speaking of, Hallmark Channel holiday movies, we got to give a shout out to your movie, which is premiering this weekend, Friday at 8/7 Central, which is Magic in Mistletoe. How much fun was that movie to work on, and share with our audience a little bit more about the story?
This one's different for me. It was really fun to work on. I'd never worked with Lindy Greenwood, who's phenomenal, and this is by far the biggest character arc. I go from the most unlikable character, and I really played with how unlikable this guy is off the top. He really is a Grinch, and then sort of having to bring him full circle and get back on board with everything. It was a really good, fun, deep, emotional arc to play with, and to be able to play off somebody like Lindy, who's such a seasoned pro, was great. It was a great script. As a female director, Paula L. And I've never worked with a female director before, and I was so happy to for the first time on this. And it's just a really, really charming, fun story. I think people are going to like it a lot. It's it's not always you get to play a really different role, but I think this one challenged me in the best way, and hopefully people respond to it.
Yeah, I think people are going to love it. I mean, and it feels like, you doing all this writing work, your character as an author in the film. Did you sort of like source like any of your work experience as a writer and sort of bring that into the character as you were developing him?
Not at all.
Next question. Yeah, no.
I'm not great at improv. It's no and.
No and.
No, I mean I did it a little bit. I think to be fair, there's an element. He becomes really disenfranchised with his own work, and he's hugely successful. He's kind of like the J.K. Rowling of Christmas. He's got this book franchise about Christmas that has been globally revered and celebrated, and he kind of he becomes disenfranchised with it. Having had a tiny bit of success as a writer myself, I've seen the pressures and all those things that come with success, and these things take on a life of their own. And I could certainly see why the character was so easily identifiable for me, or so easily help me out. What's the word here? I don't write very well. What's the word? He's
accessible.
Yeah, accessible. There's the word.
Yeah.
You should write. Yeah, he's very easily accessible, and I just went, oh, I know this guy. I'm actually not a very public person. I do really like my privacy. I like my anonymity. And I think I'd be in the same boat if I became this like hugely recognizable celebrity and just sort of lost everything, all the intimacy and everything from your life. I think that would be a big problem. So it was really fun to jump into that role.
That's awesome.
I love it. Well, we're super excited about it. And it's going to premiere. This episode is going to premiere on the 7th. So your show is going to be premiering tomorrow.
Yeah, on the 8th, at 8/7 Central. So make sure to check it out. And the beauty of, Hallmark Channel is they're constantly, re-airing these movies all throughout the holiday season. And get on the, the Hallmark movie checklist app, which will let you know, when Magic and Mistletoe will be re-airing if you happen to miss it on Friday. But Paul, we're so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule and the holiday season to come hang out with us. And, I forgot to bring this up earlier, but we did have a little Instagram exchange with you recently in the comments section. Do you remember that you commented on one of our videos and you're like, I would dress up as an elf to deliver goodies to you? And then we're like, oh, don't tempt us with a good time. And we went back and forth. And I love that this all came full circle. And now we're getting to chat with you here today.
Yeah, but I actually remember that conversation leaving off with, I'm literally here waiting for you to put me in something.
Still waiting.
I was like, but seriously, let me do something. And you guys were like, yeah. And then I heard nothing. So,
well, we were working through the PR team at Hallmark Channel. We had to get all the, the I's dotted, T's crossed,
and stuff.
And now here we are.
I genuinely would. I love what you guys are doing. I genuinely would love to be part of that. The idea of going and surprising somebody and doing that and being an ambassador for the network and delivering joy. Like truly, I meant that. If there's ever an opportunity, put me in, because that's right up my alley.
Let's make it happen.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you're down here in LA or we're up in Canada, we'll comment at each other on Instagram again and make it happen.
Perfect.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much for being on our show, and we wish you a Merry Christmas and have a good time with your family the rest of the holiday season.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas to you too.
Thanks, Paul.
That was so awesome,
dude. Paul
is
such a
great. Cool guy.
Super cool guy. I just love all the things that he does. Not just a one trick pony, not just an actor, but involved in the creative process as well, and
writer and all that stuff. Yeah.
Super cool dude. So thanks, Paul, for hanging out with us.
And make sure you check out his movie.
Yes, Magic and Mistletoe.
That's right.
Which I'm very, very excited about that one. The art itself, like there's a lot of intrigue, I think, in the hero art for that movie. So make sure you check that one out this weekend on Hallmark Channel.
Fantastic. All right, I think we should get into the countdown. Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, folks, here we go. These are the top 5 ways to get into the holiday spirit.
Yes.
I'll be honest, Danny, I did not number mine.
I didn't
I came up with 10 because we're going to do 5 on our bonus episode.
The bonus episode later this week,
So mine are not necessarily in like, I'm going to pick my 5 favorites, but my 5 through 1 are all equally good.
It feels very similar to like things we're thankful for.
Yes.
Like who's to say that
they're
one
all
is
good.
better than the other?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start with this one.
Okay.
And this is to plan a themed holiday party.
Oh, fun.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. You could do the classic ugly sweater party. Everybody loves a fun ugly sweater party. You could do a white elephant gift exchange. That's always fun. You could do a holidays by the decades party where you're like, hey, you guys are going to come as Christmas in the 50s. You guys are going to come as Christmas in the 90s. You guys are going to come as Christmas in the 20s, whatever. And then each couple like gets a decade to dress sort of festively, but in a style of a decade.
That's amazing.
That's kind of a fun idea, right?
Yeah.
You could do a movie characters party where you're like, hey, your family is Christmas Vacation. Your family is Elf. Your family is Rudolph, whatever. And then like each family comes as different.
Awesome.
And then think about the fun of like having a big party in your house, and there's like a Buddy the Elf, there's a Rudolph, there's a Yukon Cornelius walking around, you got somebody dressed like Clark Griswold.
Eddie,
yeah, I mean, it would be so fun, right? So that's my number one thing that you could do. If you're trying to get into the holiday spirit, it's always better to do it with others and with people. So plan a fun holiday themed party.
I love that. I was going to say, like, and the fact is you're going to be with a bunch of people that you love, which is what the holiday season
and I think
is all about.
people dig. I think people dig having not just a reason for a party, but like a directive in a party. Like, sure, we all know, like, hey, we're having a Christmas party, show up at 5, and you just are like, all right, great, I'm gonna go, and it'll be fun, and I'll see people, and I'll dress nice or whatever. But I know that our family, whenever we're given like, hey, we're doing this party, but this is the theme, or like this is what we're going for, whether that's outfit ideas or, like we said, theme or food themes or something like that, it just gives it a more like, ooh, this is special, and like it's something more to think about as the lead up to the event, as opposed to just, oh shoot, we got to go to that thing, let's leave.
Right.
You know,
and what is the dress attire?
Right.
And is it formal? Is
right.
it not formal? You know, I think
point people
totally
in a direction.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's a great one. And one thing I wanted to point out is we are doing this countdown today because of our Patreon. So we had posted a few weeks ago, because we had like an open theme
slot,
that we hadn't selected. And so we presented, I think it was 4 different options or 5 different options to people to vote on. And this was like the resounding
massively
choice by the people. So huge thank you to our Patreon fam on the private Facebook group for voting on this and for giving us this great list to work off of. And I think it speaks to where a lot of people are at. Is like, they know the holidays are here. They know it's something they love, and they're trying to find a way to get connected back to that spirit of the season. This, again, where we list these isn't necessarily like how important it is. So I just want to start off with the first one that popped to mind for me when I sat down to start making this list. And that's look through old photo albums. You know, we've talked about, I think on the show before, like this idea that photos feel like they've sort of lost their impact, right? You know, because we can take so many photos.
Yeah.
But like, were we talking about this when we were doing the Christmas Story episode recently about like our aunts and, you know, uncles and grandmas and grandpas who like would like love to share the photos from like past Christmas gatherings. And I think when you go back and look at those photos, you get to sort of get a sense of like what the feeling was, what the spirit was at that time. And you get to see people that maybe aren't with us anymore. You get to see how happy you were, you know, on Christmas morning when you opened up that silly toy, you know, that you had wished for so long.
It also was because we couldn't take unlimited photos and you got 12 or 24 pictures per roll. Every picture that was taken seemingly was more important. Like it was like, you wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm going to snap a picture of that. You'd be like, all right, hold up the gift and everybody smile. Like your mom or dad would always be like, okay, here we go. We're taking a picture. We got one chance at this, you know? So I think it really like grabbed moments in a more intense way as opposed to now with the, you know, taking 1,000 pictures.
It's being present in that moment. But I think also, you know, I don't know if you have this happen with you, but like with me, with like trying to get pictures of my kids, I'm like, look over here, smile. You're not looking at daddy, blah, 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 blah. Like, but we keep taking it. Okay. Now you're looking at no. But like when you only had 12, 24, 27 exposures, whatever it was, the photo that you got was the photo you got. And I don't think people were so concerned about like how everybody looked in the photo.
Well, because also you weren't going to share it with other people.
No, you just
It was just for your family to look at.
And it's like if somebody was blinking, then it became funny.
Yeah, that's what
it was.
And
it wasn't looked at like, oh, you posted the picture of me with my eyes closed.
I need an up angle. No, that's not my angle. That's not my side. You know?
Yeah, there was no like posing. It was literally like, there was no like worrying about the lighting or all that sort of stuff. It was just like the recognition of we are all here together in this space. There was nothing performative about it. You know, like that's what I love about old pictures of Christmas morning is that you're not like posing for the photo or like trying to look really surprised when you open it because somebody's going to video it or take a photo of it that's going to get shared with the world. You are literally just feeling exactly what you feel in that moment. And so one, you're going to get the chance to maybe see some people you haven't seen in a while or maybe you don't get to see anymore. But two, I think you're going to tap into a time, especially if you're of our generation, where things were simpler.
Yeah.
And it really was just about the gratitude for the moment and not being concerned about what anybody else
is going to
thought.
How they're going to view it.
You just felt the way you felt in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful gift that I think we can all, you know, lean into.
I love that. That's a great one. All right, my number 4. I really like this one. This one might be my favorite one that I came up with.
Okay.
Even though I'm putting it at 4. Okay, and that is organize a big family/friend Zoom.
Ooh.
Now, what I'm referring to specifically is, do you remember in those early days of COVID when everybody was home and we were all like, geez, how are we going to fill our time?
Right.
And like you'd get an email from like your old like 3rd grade class or something and they'd be like, hey, we're getting everybody back together from Miss Piriam's 3rd grade class, you know? And you were like, why? Because we have nothing else to do. And it just seemed to happen. And we did like a trivia thing I think I've talked about with like our neighbors and stuff like that. I did like weird like get-togethers from like my college like friends that like we're all scattered all over the world and don't necessarily all talk anymore, but there was a purposeful like feeling of like, shoot, we don't have connection right now because it was in the middle of COVID and we were all seeking it. And I think we all appreciated those moments so much during COVID. And then once we're sort of, you know, coming out of it, I feel like we've just gone right back to our old ways.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were in COVID thinking like, I wonder when this is over if we're all just going to go right back to our old ways or if we're going to like remember this time of like actually sitting down to dinner with your family and talking to people and playing board games and like reconnecting.
Yeah.
And seemingly we sort of have just gone back to the old ways. But let's all remember, you know, COVID was obviously a terrible thing and millions of people died and it was tragic. There were some things that could be gleaned from it though, or gleaned from it. And I think that connecting with people that you don't normally connect with and just like be the person that sets that up and says, hey, you know what? I used to have a group of moms, you know, maybe you're somebody who your kids are now grown and are, you know, off to college or living adult lives of their own. Right. But you had like a group of like 4 or 5 other moms back in the 80s that you used to go for walks with your kids in the strollers with or something like that. But you haven't talked to those ladies for years. But it's Christmas time. And this is the perfect excuse to just email them up and say, hey, remember when we used to all be together, and it's been years. Let's schedule a 30-minute Zoom on a Thursday night. Let's all get a glass of wine and just see how we're doing, and like be purposeful about it and reach out to those people that you don't necessarily talk to anymore, whether that be family or friends or just past acquaintances or work people and stuff like that. So that's my number 4 thing, is organize a big friends or family Zoom like we did during COVID.
Yeah, I love that, and not everyone's able to travel at the holidays,
right?
But they want to feel included.
Yeah.
So find a way to include other people. I think that's beautiful. All right, I'm just going to go, I think, in the order pretty much of what I listed here. The next one for me is going to be to call your parents or grandparents and talk to them about past Christmases. I think so often,
like about when you were a kid or about when they were a kid.
I think both.
Yeah.
I think it's asking them about what they remember most about Christmases from your childhood.
Yeah.
And getting like a full scope of like what was sort of going on, because I think we have these like little sort of moments that stick out in our mind from those moments. And maybe it's something we've seen in a photo or it's just a memory, but like there's so much more that goes on. Like now that we're parents, right? We see the full scope of sort of what's going on at the holiday season. That's not just playing video games in the back of the house with the cousins, or like maybe there was something really, really fun that happened, or something really great that like grandma said at that one Christmas about you that you just don't remember, right? Or funny jokes that were like things that will like start to jog memories inside of your mind. Because we've talked about this, I think, on Parenting Countdown when we were doing that, is that you don't realize the responsibility of being a parent, a lot of the responsibility of being a parent until you become one.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized when my kids were super young, before they started like actually making memories like Emerson is now, is that we as the parents are sort of the bearers of their childhood.
Yeah.
And someday, just like I may call my mom and say, hey, what was like when I was 3, like what did we do for Christmas? I think we have the opportunity to capture all of that in our mind, and then to be able to share that with them. And I think it serves a dual purpose, because one, you're going to hear another person's perspective on all these holidays that mean so much to you.
Yep.
But you're also going to give them the opportunity to take a trip down memory lane as well. And so I think of that being like, it's a gift that gives to both sides, because you're learning more about this thing you love so much in your memories, but they're getting to rehash things that maybe they haven't thought about in a while.
And when you make that call, if you can record it, it's good.
Yeah.
Because then maybe years from now, when some of those people might not be with us, you can like literally go back and hear their voice.
Yes. Did I tell you we did an interview with my grandma not long before she passed away?
Yeah.
So like we did like a full like 3-camera setup of just like letting her tell the story of her life.
Yeah.
And I asked her like if she could describe, like I went through each of her kids. I was like, describe so-and-so. And so she told all these amazing stories and memories she had and described all of her kids. And then we edited it. And when, she passed a few years back, we played it as like her last sort of
message
to
that's
everybody,
great.
which was super cool. Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that said something like, it was talking about grandparents and the way that grandparents love grandkids. And it said something like, it's not that grandparents spoil grandkids just because they want to, or something like that. It was basically saying the reason that grandparents get so excited to like be around their grandkids is that their grandkids remind them of, if you're the parent in the middle of that trifecta, that your kids remind your parents of you as a kid, and it allows them like another chance to love you.
Yeah.
Because when you're an adult, you don't see them as much anymore, and it's not that same relationship, and like their grandkids allow them. It's not like they don't love the grandkids for who the grandkids are, but in a way it allows them to like re-love their kids. Do you know what I mean?
The stress.
Without
of
the stress of all the
raising
get to the place,
and the jobs, and all the things. It's like they can just pour love.
Yeah, I was like, that's really cool.
That's beautiful.
Okay, my number 3 here. Hallmark will like this one. Is a movie marathon, right? Who doesn't love a movie marathon? Now, I know that because we're talking about how do you get into the holiday spirit. If maybe you're sitting there and you're like, man, It's already like the middle of December. I'm just not feeling it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're not, but maybe you're not. Dedicate one full day. I'm talking full day. You wake up, you put on your pajamas, you put on new pajamas for the day.
Christmas
The
pajamas.
coziest pajamas
Yeah.
you can find. And you plop yourself down on the couch. You get some hot chocolate. You get some cookies, some gingerbread. Maybe you're making a gingerbread house while you're doing it. And you put on White Christmas and then a Hallmark movie and then Elf and then Scrooged and then A Christmas Carol. And you just watch like all day long. And maybe there's some that you've seen and you sort of walk out of the room to go to the bathroom, get a little bite to eat or something like that. But just like have new Christmas movies playing all day long from like morning to night. You'll be exhausted by the end of it, but I guarantee it will put you in the holiday spirit.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So much. I feel like my kids serve as a reminder of that because like my kids could get up in the morning and watch like PJ Masks.
Yeah.
Like all day long.
All day.
And I'm like, aren't you like, don't you want to change this? And they're like, no, I love
super
this
happy.
thing. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of things I love. Why don't I just sit down and watch the things
Exactly.
I love? That's a great one. I love that. All right. I'm going to hopscotch around here a little bit. And I'm going to go with get off of social media.
That's a good one.
You know, this time of year, and look, we put out a lot of, holiday content on our social media channels. But this time
Get off
of year,
all social media except for ours.
Yeah, every channel except for ours.
Delete every account.
Unfollow everybody, mute everybody
But
except for
just
Christmas
listen.
countdown. No, here's what happens, right? Is whether you follow a lot of positive pages or Christmas pages or whatever, what is happening every time we go on social media, and I speak from personal experience, is that we are getting exposed to all these other people's stories, right? Of like, oh, we went to this Christmas tree lot and my kid cut this thing down, or I let them pick out this favorite inflatable, or we're baking together. And inevitably what happens is you start comparing yourself to others and you're like, well, I'm not doing Christmas right. What do you mean you're not doing Christmas right? Like
we say jokingly, live your truth all the time, but
Yeah.
it's true.
Like live your truth. I was thinking about this, this connects to something I think I'm going to share later on, is that only we know what like the true spirit of Christmas feels like for us.
Yeah.
Only we know what songs really make us smile, or what movies really make us laugh, or what, traditions.
Maybe you
we
love
really
Home
latch
Alone
onto.
3, and that's what.
And that's your truth. And don't let us screaming at you at the Amundsen Theater deter
Dim
you
that.
from
Yes, that's
watching
right.
that. But like, live your truth, and don't feel like you have to be like us, or that crying about Christmas memories is the only way to get connected to the Christmas spirit. Like, no, like, what memories matter to you. You know what traditions matter to you. So lean into those things. And if you need help, if it feels like a daunting task, it's like, just sit down and start writing out, what are your 5 favorite Christmas movies? Mm-hmm. I think one of the byproducts of this show that is just hitting me in this moment that has been so beautiful is that it's required us obviously, to sit down and to think about, well, what are my favorite things about Christmas? And yes, we're putting together a list and it's entertaining or whatever, but I love sitting with myself and not feeling like I have to appease anybody else other than just like, what makes me happy?
Yeah.
And so maybe take what we do with our show, maybe pick 5 categories: songs, movies, traditions, foods, smells, whatever it is, whatever 5 themes speak to you, and list your favorite 5.
Yeah.
And do those 5.
Yeah.
Don't try what everybody else is doing on social media. If there's something that speaks to you, whatever, try it. But like, the holiday spirit for you is your holiday spirit.
Yeah.
It's nobody else's. It's not Eric's. It's not mine. It's not your friends on social media. It's yours. So get off of social media, get back in touch with yourself, and lean into what really makes the holiday spirit come alive for you.
Totally. That's a great one. I love it. All right, I'm to number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2. This is a fun one.
Okay.
You're trying to get into the holiday spirit. Maybe you're like, man, it's just not as much as it's been in years past or something like that.
Yeah.
Start a new tradition. Now, there's a bajillion things that you could do for how you could start a new tradition. Ways you can look this up, go into Pinterest, go into Google, just search new Christmas traditions. You'll find really random, weird things. You'll find very normal things. I'm going to slam through a few just like ideas. The idea to visit a holiday restaurant or something, to make some of those restaurants like really just go all out. And maybe you say every year on December 20th, our family's going to go to this restaurant and we're all going to wear matching outfits or something. And you just make it up. And it starts this year, and you say, this is the first of our annual tradition, and then next year it'll be 2 years in a row. And then before you know it, it'll be 30 years from now, and your kids will have kids, and they'll be like, on the 20th of December, we always go to Bennigan's or whatever, and we put on our matching Christmas outfits and we just order dessert or something like that. Like, just make it up. And that's the fun part. You could start a cookie exchange with your neighbors and you say, hey, everybody, it's the first annual cookie exchange. And people get excited about something that they know will happen over and over, and traditions. It could be, make yourself an advent calendar each year. And maybe that starts on November 15th. We always make an individual advent calendar. We put our 24 favorite chocolates or whatever into a little box. And, so there's a bajillion things you could do, but starting a new tradition is a very cool, exciting thing it's a fun thing to do. It's a creative thing to do. It's something you can choose to do with your whole family or your neighbors or your friends. So that's my number 2, is to start a new tradition.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And I think people are afraid to do that.
I know.
Sometimes. So are people going to like it? Are people going to be into it?
Who cares?
If you want to do it, who cares? We just did the first annual St. Jude holiday special. How did that never happen before in the history of time? I don't know. But they said, do you want to do it? And we said yes. And now
hopefully we'll do it for a bunch of years to come.
For many years to come. So you got to start somewhere,
That's
right? So just and make it attainable, like those mini MINI goals that you talked about. Yep. Set mini goals and just do it.
Yeah.
And who cares what anyone thinks? All right. So next one for me is going to be go to a Christmas sing along or go caroling. Music for me, as I'm sure for so many people who listen to the show, I know for you, is one of like the comfort things when it comes to Christmas. And, it's fun to listen to Christmas music in your car. It's fun to listen to it while you're, making dinner or cleaning up the house. But like being in a shared space with people and everyone singing those songs together.
Some might say the greatest way to spend Christmas cheer is singing loud for all
to hear. And with all,
That's right.
like some of my favorite moments, and I'm sure we'll get into this in our next countdown, which is our carols and hymns, are being in the same physical space with other people singing songs of joy and gratitude.
Even if it's sung badly.
Like I've never once been in church and heard like someone 3 rows back being like off key and be like, oh geez, you're ruining my vibe,
Christmas,
bro. Like because it's not about pitch. It's not about tune. It's feeling. And feeling is something that we can all be in tune with. And there's harmony when we're all in this like same feeling. And so I think whether it's getting some friends together, which goes to your idea of like starting a new tradition, or finding a group that does Christmas caroling, or finding where there's a sing-along at your local mall or your church or whatever it is, and just going there and just singing some of the most joyful songs that have ever been written with a bunch of other people, and nobody caring how silly they look when they do the 12 days of Christmas and they're flapping their wings and they're pounding their drums and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be my number 2 is sing a bunch of songs with a bunch of people.
I love that. Yeah. When we lived in New York, we the last time that we lived in New York in 2016, 17, 18, that group of friends that we had there, it wasn't through the school. It was just like one of the moms was like set it up, and we got a group of like, I don't know, 15 to 20 families. And they got some jingle bells. They printed out a couple of sheets of paper that had, 25 Christmas Carol lyrics on them.
Yeah.
Gave them out to a bunch of kids. And we just walked up and down 8th Avenue or Columbus Avenue and just like would walk into a deli and sing Deck the Halls. And then we walk out and then we walk into the Mexican restaurant next door and we'd sing We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And then we walk into the bar, the salon the next door down and sing another song. And the kids had so much fun and they were doing their jingle bells, and each business was like, whoa, we got carolers. And we didn't have to be dressed up in Victorian clothes or anything. It was just everybody was like having fun together, and then like the kids all yelling, being like, let's do Rudolph next. Okay, we're gonna do Rudolph.
That's
and
awesome.
like it was so magical to have our kids just like going up and down the streets of New York City and like popping into stores and singing Christmas carols, and it was amazing. It's so wonderful.
And they'll hold on to that.
Oh, totally.
And the people who were there in those delis and whatever,
will remember it. Yeah,
they remember that.
Yeah, totally.
You can shift a person's life in moments like that.
100%. All right, we're to my number one. My number one, going right off this, music.
Yeah,
it's all about the music. It always has been for, I think, both of us. That's why we listen to it all year long, to keep in the holiday spirit. The music of Christmas, we've talked about this ad nauseum over 3 seasons, but especially when you go to, as much as I love some of the new Christmas songs that come out, when you listen to those old Sinatra records, Bing Crosby, Ella Fitzgerald, Rosemary Clooney, all that old stuff, it feels nostalgic. It makes you feel nostalgic. It brings you back to a simpler time. It makes you feel that you're listening to something that is not modern and that has a real history to it, which is what the season has, a real history to it. And so for me, the best way to get into the holiday spirit is listening to music all the time. Make Christmas songs your alarms when you wake up in the morning. Turn all of your ringers on your phones to different, each person can get a different Christmas carol or whatever. Find ways to listen to music in the shower, listen to it while you're eating dinner, go to sleep listening to Christmas music. Like, that's how I've been living, and it makes me very happy. Like, I just feel like I like listening to it. I like making playlists. I like searching out new Christmas music. The whole experience of it just feels like everyone, even especially when you hear like somebody like, let's say, a Meghan Trainor, not that she's super edgy, but hearing an artist who maybe you wouldn't view as like wholesome and like, that person just is so warm and wholesome. But then they do a Christmas song and you're like, oh, they love Christmas too. Like, there's just something about everybody loves Christmas music. Even people that aren't into the holiday a lot of times enjoy Christmas music. So for me, the best way to get into the Christmas spirit is definitely going to be just music.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's so good. All right, so we made it to the end of this list. But before I reveal my number one, if you guys aren't doing so, please make sure you follow us on social media when you get back on it after the holiday season, at Christmas Countdown Show on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, at Xmas Pod on the X. If you want to see what's happening here, all these cool gifts that we talked about in this episode today, you can go to youtube.com/Countdown Network. And please make sure to rate and review. Those reviews mean the world to us, and they help more people to discover the show. All right. Number one for me, I've got a lot that I want to chat about here, but good news, we have a bonus episode coming up later this week, so I can share them there. I'm just going to go back to the heart of it all. I think sit down and write down all of the things in your life that you have to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We've talked about this in the past on the show of like shifting your energy. When I think back to childhood and why I was able to be so present at the holiday season, why the holiday season holds so much joy. For me, it's that I think I was living from a place of love. Mm-hmm. I think I was living from a place of gratitude and thanks. Like, I think I was aware of the fact that like there were good, like I was just thinking good things most of the time, and I think when you sit down and you put pen to paper and you say, I'm grateful for this thing. Inevitably, what comes is 2 things, 3 things. Before you know it, you've made this huge list. And I think that's really what I love the most about the holiday season is, we talk about things slowing down, right? But the reason I love things slowing down is that it removes distractions from my life.
It forces you to reflect.
And it forces you to reflect. And it takes away all the noise, and you can think more clearly. Mm-hmm. And when you sit down to write a list, you are making that active choice to remove distractions from your life. And if that list has 3 things, be grateful for the fact that there's 3 things on that list. If that list has 20 things, be grateful that that list has 20 things. But we all have things to be thankful for in life. And this time of year is a time to remember that. Yeah. And it is so easy to get caught up in all the crap that bothers us or makes us upset, or that we feel like, the world has done me wrong when it comes to this thing, but the world has done you right. Yeah. So many times as well. And if we make that conscious effort to focus on that, that will breed more positivity, which will bring more joy to your holiday season, I firmly believe. So sit down, make that list. It's something I'm committing to doing myself as well. And, and if you feel so inclined, feel free to share those lists, with us. If you post them on social media and say, I'm doing the gratitude challenge or whatever, tag us in it and we'll share it out with people.
I mean, it's like we've said all the time about like goals and stuff, that thinking it is great, but when you write it down, they've done studies. It just is like more powerful, and it makes it more tangible. Yeah,
exactly.
But folks, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. We hope you've enjoyed the top 5 ways to get into the holiday spirit. Hopefully we've gotten you a little bit closer to the holiday spirit if you weren't already there. Filled up your holiday meter. But we're going to end it here the way we always do, by saying a very heartfelt and loving Merry Christmas.
And Happy Holidays.
We will see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Sweet.